everyone, today's dolly makeover is going to be not so much a makeover as a tutorial on how to make a bathrobe for Salon and Spa Fianna, because I've got nothing for her. She's got no clothes at all. The Salon and Spa day, I did manage to find her a bathrobe and a little hair band thing. That they weren't hers, but I did manage to dress her. I found Fianna some shoes that match her skin tone, and they'll be fine for the spa, so that's that. And then I have this, it's a flannel. What it is a baby flannel. I got 3 for £1 from my pound shop. They came in 3 different colours, and they're lovely and soft. They're just ideal for a bathrobe. And I thought I could use them to make bathrobes for my dolls. That was the idea. So here's the plan. First of all, first thing we need to do is cut it roughly in half. Not all the way in half. We need to leave a little tiny lip at one edge. Right, as you can see, about ½ an inch along the edge there. And then we're going to cut it in half along the crease. I just cut it straight across the crease like that. They really are beautiful and soft, and as I say, that they were 3 for £1 from the pound shop, so it costs around 33p. It measures roughly 10 inches square. So now we have the longer piece at the front here, and what we're going to do with that is we're just going to turn it over the ½ an inch and stitch across from one end to the other, just to hold that in place. You don't need a lot of stitches, it is really just to hold it in place. We'll get to the end and we'll finish it off with a few stitches across the end there. Right, so we've got that piece like that with a little hemmed over, and then we've got this piece. Now the next thing we're going to do is cut this piece in half, but not all the way. What we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half like so, and we're going to cut it to just before the lip. So along here we're going to cut it to just before that lip. So again, not all the way. There we are. So what we end up with is this. Now this is going to be turned like this. And the next thing we have to do is get the back part, put the right sides together, and now we need to sew along this bit here. And it can be done either on the machine or by hand, and you need to sew all the way across there like that, all the way along from one end to the other. So just before I sew it, we'll run through that again. So we started off with this like this. We folded this bit over and sewed it, and we cut almost but not all the way to the seam. And then what we do is we put these two finished edges together like this, and then we lay them onto the back with the right sides together, so you end up with your cut edge, the bit you just cut, matched up with the other half of the fabric that you cut before. And we're going to sew from one end to the other. Okay, so I've finished stitching now along this edge. I've stitched all the way from one edge to the other, and I've got my little V in the middle there, like so. Now what we're going to do is turn it the right way out, just flip it over like that, and this is what we're left with. We're left with a square again, but with a slit there that's got a finished edge on it. Pop that over like that, and then we're going to get our Fianna. As you can see, it does come down to a knee, so I would say that's about the right length, isn't it? We want it to be loose, we don't want it to be tight. So I'm going to cut it about halfway, I think. About halfway between the split and the edge, and then the same from the top to the edge, because we don't want it to have, I want it to have nice loose arms to about here. So I'm now going to cut across to here and down here, a little corner out of it. Now let's measure the size of that corner. So in inches, I'm going to cut a 2.5 inches across and 2.5 inches up. So a 2.5 inch square out of this corner. Let's move Fianna, I don't want to get her cut by mistake. So that's that side, and then we'll do the same on the other side, and to make sure we get the right size, we'll just lay that bit on there. But somehow I've managed to get a bit of dirt on there, so it's a good job that bit's cut off, isn't it, or else it would have spoilt it. Yeah, and now we're going to cut across there and down on this side as well, so that we've got the same. And as you can see, it's starting to take shape now. This is going to be our bathrobe. Now we need to turn it inside out again, and we need to sew along here, along the arm seam and down the side seam. So we need to do that on both sides. So back to the inside out, and we need to sew along the arm seam and down the side seam, and we need to do that on both sides. So I'll pop and do that now. Okay, so I've sewn down the arm and down the side on both sides of the garment, and what you'll end up with is this T shape. So you've got your arms here, you've got the front there, and you've got this is the hemline. And because I did it the way I did it, the hemline's already finished off, and so is the front. So what we need to do is turn it the right way out. It really does look really lush and plush, it's lovely. So, and as you can see, those sleeves are going to be too long for her, aren't they? Quite. So I thought what I'd do is I would turn them over a couple of times to make them look even more plush. Let's try it on her. It really is so easy to do. I've made it nice and loose so we can wrap it right round her and keep her nice and snugly. The next thing I'm going to try and do is to do her a headband, a thing to keep her hair off her face while she has her facial done. Yeah. So to do that, I'm going to need to sew 2 pieces of these together so that it will go all the way around her head. Okay, so what I've done is I've sewn two of the scrap pieces together like so, and now I'm going to sew it in half, I think. Yeah, let's cut that extra thread off there. So with right sides together, sew from one end to the other, and then you'll end up with like a tube. Okay, so here is my tube. The next thing I'm going to do is turn that the right way round. Push it through. Use something long and thin to help push it through. In my case, it's not my fingers, no. Fingers like sausages I've got. I'm going to roll it so that that seam is on the underside and that this side doesn't have a seam apart from the one in the middle, and we're going to disguise that in a minute. I'll show you how. So now I'm going to test it round Fianna's head. Yeah, that's going to be great. We just need a little bit of elastic to hold it in place at the back, and if we look at the back there, you can see we do only need a little tiny bit of elastic in there. So I'm going to get my elastic and sew that on. Okay, so here's my elastic, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck it in this end. Just literally tuck it in like this, and then I'm going to sew across here a few times just to make sure it holds in place. So I've tucked it in the end there, and I'm going to sew across that end a few times to hold that in place. Okay, right, so that's that side done. Now what we do is we fold it over, and we only need about 1/2 inch of elastic. So I'm going to cut it to there, cut the elastic so that it's long enough and that I've got a little bit left to tuck in the other side, because I only need about the width of my thumb, about just over 1/2 inch. So I'm going to tuck that in the other end, this spare elastic, and this time I think I'm going to struggle to get that under the foot of my sewing machine, so I might have to sew that on by hand. But make sure it's tight enough. You don't want it too loose and you don't want it too tight. Okay, so there's a headband. Now this is just an optional extra. You don't have to do the headband. I just thought it would look cute. So there she is with her headband. That's going to keep her hair out of the way. Okay, so we've got her robe on, and now all we need is to tie it up. So I've got a piece of ribbon, and I've chosen pink because pink's what colour her shoes are, so it'll match her shoes. And then we're going to tie that around her waist. Oh, I'd love to have a bathrobe that was as big and soft and squinchy as this. Yeah, tighten a little bow. You don't have to use ribbon, it could be cord, it could be anything you've got to hand. And then we'll cut that off to just above her hemline and cut it at an angle if it's ribbon so that it doesn't fray. There we are. So that's that. I love it. She looks so cosy in there, doesn't she? She really does. Right. So then I've got a little piece of pink ribbon that matches the ribbon around her waist, and I'm just going to stitch that on there to help to hide that little join and to fancy it up a bit. And I'm just literally going to put 2 stitches in it just to hold it in position. My dolls are only on display, so it's not going to come off, but if you are going to play with your dolls, put 3 or 4 stitches in to hold it rather than just 1 or 2. Turn it the inside out and finish it off with a couple of stitches just to tie a knot in it. Right, let's try it on and see what she looks like. Actually, no, that would make a good winter girl's headband as well, actually. It would, honestly. Yeah, you could do the same thing with fur or fleece to make a winter girl's headband. But yeah, that's her spa headband and her little spa robe. I'm really happy with that. I think she looks great. So that is Fianna all done. And we've even got a little scrap of fabric left that would be ideal to make her a little flannel. Yeah. So let's get Dana. Here's Dana. She's got her headband on, which that's what gave me the idea to make the headband for the other one. She's got her robe, and honestly I think this doll looks just as nice in her homemade version, which costs about 35p. Yeah, so really happy with her. I hope that's helped someone. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.